Hey, talking all about muscle gain by putting the right food in at the right time in the right amounts to make sure you gain the most amount of muscle and don't add a bunch of fat. Let's get rolling. All right, so you're looking how to optimize the muscle gain and structure your day properly with the right foods, the right amounts, the right times, so it's simple, enjoyable, and sustainable. Now, the first piece is creating little habits. And to create habits, I like to give a hard push in the beginning when you have this motivation, and then have it slowly keep rolling and find the little pieces and build on top of them. If you push too much change too fast, it doesn't stick. You want to make sure this sticks long term, because at the end of the day, if you gain 5 pounds of muscle and quit lifting or quit eating properly, the muscle will go away. So you don't just get to a goal, but you keep it. So first off, what's your weight and what's your fat percentage? We'll say you're 25 years old, you're 20% body fat, 200 pounds, so that would give you 40 pounds of fat mass, and you're 6 foot tall. You'd prefer to be 210 pounds and 15% body fat. So that's going to be gaining a total of 20 pounds of muscle mass and losing 10 pounds of fat. Your metabolism is how many calories it keeps you to survive, how many calories are used across your day. Now there's BMR, which is pretty much in a coma, basal metabolic rate. There's resting metabolic rate, which is if you're sleeping, how many calories your body's using to keep your lungs breathing, your heart beating, keep your body at 98.6 degrees. We're constantly burning. RMR is where I first like to base it. So your RMR, you never want to go below it for over 36 hours, as that's what will slow down your metabolism. So for muscle gain, you want to think about, okay, my RMR, let's say, is 2,000 calories a day. Just grabbing an easy number. Now you want to gain roughly 20 pounds over the next 6 months. So what we want to do is look at how many extra calories are you going to need to gain that weight. But you also want to lose 10 pounds of body fat. So you're going to have a net outcome of gaining 10 pounds. Losing 10 pounds of fat, gaining 20 pounds of muscle, net outcome, adding 10 pounds, but you'll look much better with 20 more pounds of muscle and losing 10 pounds of fat, and that'll be a great transformation, and that's a great 6-month goal. So putting that together into food, you look at, say, RMR, resting metabolic rate, 2,000 calories, you get a workout. Say in your workout, you're burning roughly 600 calories. Let's say with your digestion, you're gonna be burning another 250 calories. So then that's putting us up at 3,150, if I'm doing math correctly. Now the biggest staple here is gonna be making it simple and enjoyable. You can't just go with baked chicken, brown rice, and steamed broccoli and avocado. That's super healthy and you'll look like a Greek god. How long is that gonna last? So make this part of your life, you'll change and it'll stick forever. So let's look at structuring your day with the right amount of food. I prefer to start my day higher in fats and fibrous vegetables. I like spinach is usually a good staple of mine in the morning, and I usually do a few whole eggs and a handful of liquid egg whites to add in more volume and protein. It keeps my body in a balance of glycolysis and ketogenesis to create my energy. So by putting in more fat, it keeps me burning that stored body fat until I need to tap into those muscle stores. Then, once I get close to my workout, about a half an hour before, I like to have a little fruit personally. You don't have to do this. So what that I think is optimal, have a little glucose, have a little something in you while you work out. In the intra workout, maybe you want some BCAAs, maybe you like a creatine for optimizing your muscle gain, and maybe some fish oil in the morning to help your joints. Fish oil is a great supplement. So now, moving into post-workout, this is gonna be your most important meal. Your post-workout meal should be in less than half an hour from finishing the workout. That's where shakes are convenient, not the best, but they're convenient because you get them right away. But if you can, have your food there with you right when you leave the workout, that's optimal for muscle gain. You want to be putting in the right amount of food to make sure you can rebuild the tissue you broke down. So having a good balance of protein and carbs is going to be ideal for post-workout. You want to jump up the insulin, you want to start raising that stuff up to create the protein synthesis, because when you raise your insulin, it makes it much easier to break down the proteins, take those branched chain amino acids, your BCAAs, from protein and turn them into cell replication to rebuild the broke down tissues from the workout. After workout, even in cutting diets, my people have a good source of carbohydrates, preferably rice, sweet potato, oatmeal, something in those lines. Next, moving forward into the next meals, is looking at the overall balance of the day. We want to make sure you spread the protein as much as possible across the day. I take lean body mass times 1.2. So 1.2 with a 200-pound guy at 20% body fat, you would take 160 times 1.2, which is roughly 200. So, and that is a good base way to do it, is your body weight in grams of protein for gaining. If you're not working out, that's way too much protein. For a guy who's wanting to gain muscle, I think it's a great way to start. Carbohydrates for gaining, minimum, you want to balance the carbohydrates and proteins, 200, 200. If not, you want to exceed the protein with carbohydrates. The difference is you don't need as much carbohydrates when you have less output. So if you have a lower workout, you're just working arms, you can probably have a slightly lower carb day, where if you work a big muscle group like your legs or back, you want to make sure you have a higher intake of carbohydrates. Or if you do a full body day, then you want to make sure you have a high intake of carbohydrates. If you're laying around on Sunday afternoon, it's raining and you watch movies all day, carbohydrates should be fairly low, even for muscle gaining, in my professional opinion. Then you look at your fats. It's about having a balance. For a 200-pound guy, I would not go under 50 grams, and it's going to be going up and looking at that overall goal. So you can now, keeping the minimum of 200 grams of carbohydrates, 200 grams of protein, 50 grams of fat. Now, if we look at these as minimums, we then got to look at our output and make sure that you're gaining slightly. Because remember, in 6 months, you had the ideal outcome to be gaining 10 pounds, gaining 20 pounds of muscle, and losing 10 pounds of fat. So in this, you might actually lose weight in the beginning by cutting out junk. Secondly, is how fast you go up. When you watch the scale to see for your gains, you want to measure two different pieces. One, how fast is the scale going up? You want to keep it going up about half a pound a week on average, so about 2 pounds a month. So that would put us at a 12-pound gain at the end of the 6 months. That would be showing us you're in the right track. Secondly, your exercises, your big core lifts at the beginning of your workouts. Make sure you're having an increase there. If you're not increasing the weight you're moving, the amount of reps you're doing, or keeping more time under tension, some increase, some progression week to week in your workouts, I can firmly say you probably are not gaining muscle. So we want to watch those two pieces together, your lifts, and we want to watch the scale. Then you look into the other factors, your sleep, your stress, your water. The fastest way to up testosterone is make sure your sleep's good. The second fastest way is make sure you're hydrated. That's also going to be key to getting proper muscle gain. Lastly, stress. Having mental stress is going to raise your cortisol, which is going to also slow down your muscle gain and slow down the burn of fat. So we want to make sure we look at those three pieces. And as long as we're hitting those minimums, then you raise your carbohydrates and fats to make it so you're in that slight surplus of calories to keep you moving towards that goal. So the scale moves the way you want it to, and you can keep moving up and gaining the muscle you want. And this is where each person's a little different, and you just need to keep adjusting. So you think about how many calories you burn in a day. There's tons of calculators out there to help you compute this, and then put yourself in a surplus of around 200 calories a day should yield the results you want. If the scale and your lifts are not moving the way I just said, you want to adjust the calories. Keep the protein consistent, 1.2 times your lean body mass. Start with a base level of equal carbs, and for, I would say, roughly 200 or a 200-pound man, the lowest fat you want is 50 grams, if not above. You can then raise the fat and the carbs depending on how hungry you are. If it's easy to raise the fat quickly and not have a lot more food. You put some oil on your salads, you put some oil on rice, the calories are going up quickly, but you're not adding a lot more food. If you're really hungry, I would say keep the fats the same and add in more carbohydrates to fill you up. If you feel like you're force feeding yourself and you can't get all the calories in, possibly even lower the carbs a little and add in a lot more dense fats. That'll be easier to get to the calorie goal to make sure you have the base you need to build but not lose weight. Hope this helps you. Go ahead and like, comment below, and ask me what pieces you're still struggling with. If there's anything I can help you out, I'd love to hear from you. Talk to you soon.